Well, good evening, everyone. Councillor Kenny is still engaged in other matters, so I'm chairing this evening's planning and licensing meeting. So welcome, and we've got the novelty of this time trialing that you'll be actually able to see Duncan's screen when we're going through planning applications, so you just won't have to listen to our voices and things. So that'll be quite exciting. So starting off, Duncan, have we any apologies?
We have apologies from councillors Kenny, Hick and North this evening.
Wonderful, thank you. Interests, I've got an interest, but other than that, we can declare them as and when. Yeah, brilliant.
Just to confirm, you also have pecuniary interest in the Sands Resort.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Duncan. We haven't got any minutes to cover, have we? Oh, meeting management issues. Have we any meeting management issues? No, I don't think we do. No. Minutes we're not doing. Matters arising from the minutes we're not doing. Yeah, I'm not the brightest button this evening, so apologies for for that. Right, open session for electors. So we have Mr. Keast on there. Does Mr. Keast want to speak? Yes, yes. So if you know the routine, if you want to come down and speak at the microphone. Well, that's the thought. Will they be able to see Mr. Keast? No.
Okay, so I'd just like to make a few comments about the PA 2402576 application that you're considering tonight. Cornwall Council was informed about this building on the 22nd of July 2022. And as far as I'm aware, no enforcement action has been taken about this building. This application, if you've looked into it, and I expect you've looked at a lot of these points I'm going to raise, was dated 28th of March 2024, but not validated by the council until the 17th of June 2024, over 11 weeks later. So I question why that is. This is the 16th, at least, retrospective style application submitted by this applicant in the last 2 years. And I would like this committee to refer to another previous retrospective planning application, which was PA 2401904, which refers to the 16 live worked service workers accommodation units that you objected to with the objection dated 15th of April 2024 submitted. With regard to that application, the land contamination report was considered too old for that application. And I'm assuming, as it's the same land contamination report for this one, that should be the same reason. The public protection noise and odor planning consultant for that previous application required a sound assessment to be completed and has serious reservations about that application with the fact that it's residential units within an industrial estate. The site allocations for that previous application says that this application falls partly within the allocation NQE1 Treloggan Industrial Estate, and somebody will be in touch with them to talk about it within 5 days. Yet with this application, they say that it is adjacent to the NQE1 site, but yet it's closer. So how can one be partly in and partly out, but this one not in at all? So I find that very confusing. The public space officer with that previous application said there is insufficient open space for the 16 units, and I believe that this building will be in a similar condition. If you look at the green infrastructure report that's been submitted with this latest application, I think it makes that absolutely clear that there's no community space, space for drying clothes or anything like that included. Looking at the application form, it says that the construction of this site started on the 1st of June 2022 and finished on the 1st of June 2022. So it took 24 hours to actually build this building. Not true. It states that the site is 0.41 of a hectare. That's 4,100 square meters. It's far smaller than that, so I think that's erroneous. It says that trees and hedges have not been removed to construct the building. Yet, if you look at the location of it, it actually straddles a boundary between between fields, and therefore I believe that hedges and trees would have been in situ at some point in the past. So I think trees and hedges have been affected. It says there's one parking space supplied. Where is it? Doesn't show it anywhere on the plans that I can see that there's a parking space there. Surface water drainage is going into the Southwest Water system. Has Southwest Water been consulted about that? It also states that this area doesn't flood, but we're all aware that this area does flood, and that the area is considered a wetland. So again, that same old argument carries on. And finally, it says it's looking for exemption for biodiversity net gain because it's thought to be a minor development. However, in my opinion, it needs to be aggregated with all the other recent applications from Prow Park, because if you look at that, it's been a major development across that site, and therefore biodiversity net gain should apply throughout. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keast. Has anyone got any questions for Mr. Keast before I suggest we move this up the agenda? No? So I'm going to propose that planning application 8 is moved up to the agenda and discussed now. Second, so vote on that. Yeah. So Duncan, this is one of yours. So over to you, Duncan.
Just bear with me while I organise myself. Right then, so
Can I just say, if what Mr. Keast is suggesting to be true, then we could be dealing with that quite quickly.
yeah, indeed. Sorry, do I need to minimise that? Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting to note that Countryside Access had raised no objection, but had added a comment about threatening prosecution if everything's not done to their done to the letter. So it's worth noting, as I think we've already touched on, that this committee has already objected to a retrospective application for residential accommodation, the 16 units associated with the German film company. A key line from that objection being strong concerns exist that the clash of use classes resulting from allowing longer term residential occupation on an industrial area would inevitably lead to occupiers of the dwelling units complaining about noise and odours, and that subsequent actions, mitigations would potentially harm the operation of what is Newquay's primary protected employment site. That's a quote from the objection that we submitted when we looked at the 16 units. The design and access statement, curiously, it identifies Prow Park as an existing employment site. It goes on to state that the modular unit is exempt from this designation. I have no idea why the documents say that. It does later on go through a list of policy concerns, but fails to mention policy E1, which that designation would have been. So there's no explanation as to why they think that. The accommodation, or the proposed development, retrospective proposed development, seeking permission for use of the modular accommodation by, again, key workers stroke NHS staff, so similar again to what they were saying for the German units. This one is situated just to the north of the German units, and we'll just have a quick look at the location plan. I think you can hopefully see that the German units are along here, and the red outline there is this single unit. And it would be a use type C3, so residential dwelling.
Can I just say, Duncan, that at the moment in this red outline box here is the large like storage unit that's being constructed. So this is at the bottom of that. So it's huge. Well, I'd say it was probably about 3 stories high, 3 or 4 stories high at the moment. So the outlook for this as a residence, that it's literally backing on to this massive building. It gives the impression at the moment that there's nothing there, but we've already got planning permission for things there. So just for people who haven't been up there recently.
Again, the existing site plan gives us a little more detail. I don't know if you can read that, but it says foul and surface water connects into dry dock scheme connecting to existing combined sewer. So their surface water is just running straight into the sewer, which I'm not certain that that's South West Water's preferred destination under their destination hierarchy. We'll have a look at the elevations. So this is the modular house. Mr. Keith referred to the work having taken place in one day. This house would not have been built; it would have been delivered rather than built. There would have been some construction, but largely it would have been delivered to the site rather than actually constructed. In a in a way that we would sort of kind of normally expect. The sorry, I just. Just looking quickly at the floor plans, very quickly. Main habitable rooms being downstairs with three bedrooms upstairs. It's worth noting the measurements, which are just in the corner. There are measurements put just in the corner. They appear to reflect the gross internal area of the floors. They combined. The 2 floors amount to 79.8 metres squared. Nationally described space standards set a minimum of 84 metres squared for a 2-storey, 3-bedroom property with just 4 people in it. And this has clearly got at least, well, it looks like 2 double rooms in it, to be honest. But even if there were just 3 people in there, 4 people, it would fall short of the space requirements. The application form states the proposal would create a single parking space, but we've no, as has already been mentioned, we've no indication. That's your application. Are you done with the documents, or do you need to see any further?
I mean, there's not a lot to see, is there? So does anybody want to say anything about this? Right, Kate? Yep.
I imagine we might have quite a list of concerns here. We all want housing and affordable housing in Newquay. There's plenty underbuild and upgrade and refit right now. So there's a lot about to come on the market. But with regards to this, there's a lot of issues that make it sort of unsuitable, not really the type of housing I think people are after. The first ones that I'll raise, and I'm sure other councillors will raise them, I don't know how you meant to do rubbish collection, Duncan. I'm not sure if that can be captured. Amenity space you've mentioned doesn't meet the national standard. Then you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but something about road safety, that you're in an industrial zone, you walk out the door and you've got some trucks and things going past. So if there's children or anything, and we can't restrict housing to not have children or something. And then, of course, the concerns that were raised earlier around the land contamination report, saying that there really should have been a proper assessment for this site. So I guess the question from us is, has there been an up-to-date land contamination assessment and report for this site and around public protection and by public protection and odor consultant? And was there anything else I'd caught? And then obviously I thoroughly agree with the concerns that we're seeing trying to get out of the if it's all other others are making for biodiversity of, yes, occasionally a tree needs to be cut down, but there's a responsibility to replace that. And so Cornwall Climate Action Plans come through, all other applications are making efforts, and this one's making absolutely none. So it's non-compliant and it represents no effort on that front as well. And then the usual things we would point out on any application, where are the energy efficiency efforts around around solar panels, heat pumps, insulation, etc., which again, most other applications are doing these days. And finally, the surface water drainage, it doesn't seem clear that that's been properly considered with South West Water and in any other ways needed, and SUDS and those sorts of water management aspects. Thank you.
Joe.
Thank you. Just to reiterate the point that's already been made tonight, but I think it's worth putting in the comments about the systemic Prow Park issue, multiple fragmented application forms, and we need to be looking at Prow Park as a larger project.
So after that, very brief, succinct. Oh, Francis, do you want to say something too? Do you want to make a suggestion?
What I wanted to say was just it's a principle of retrospective planning, which I think is being abused in this circumstance. And I think if they had come to us with this pre-planning, I don't think we would have accepted it then for all of those reasons and probably many others. So I know historically we are minded to not kind of be neutral with retrospective planning permissions, but in all consciousness, I don't think that approach would apply here.
So is anyone going to propose anything?
Commend, we oppose.
Right, okay, so you're proposing an objection. Seconder for, oh, John's going to second, so vote on that. Yeah, John, yeah, you're doing that, right. You have enough there, Duncan.
Yeah, and I have quite I mean, I will borrow from the objection that we put in for the German,
absolutely,
because we are talking very, very similar stuff here. I have scribbled down a nice list of bullet points as well there, so we'll make sure that is included. Okay. Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah, marvelous. So I think we can thank you, Mr. Keast, and we can go back to the agenda because we have no other members of the public in the audience tonight. So so where have we got to? Active consultations.
Sorry, I feel something's come between us, Sarah, to be honest. Right. We have been putting this off for several weeks just because we've not really had time, and I was struggling to understand some of it. But this is the government consultation on how to make it easier to sell alcohol to drink in licensed pavement areas. I did email you all during the week, just outlining the pieces of legislation. This goes back to the temporary legislation that came in for COVID, which allowed all premises to have off sales. Also under the 2020 Business and Planning Act was the creation of licensed pavement areas. Those pavement areas have now been made, there is a facility to make them permanent now in 2023 legislation. The question is what happens to that temporary allowance of off sales for all premises. The government gave 3 options. The first option was to make permanent the temporary arrangements. And the second 2 were very, very similar in their outcome. I'm going to make a qualified, because this is slightly technical, I'm going to make a qualified recommendation to the committee because I believe that there is one option here that best reflects what the town needs. It is not option 1, because option 1, whilst that would be very good for businesses, there are premises that are not well suited to having off sales. In Newquay, this can include beach bars. So if you have a beach bar and you can only consume alcohol within the curtilage of the beach bar, you are not taking glass out onto the beach. Glass on beaches being something that Cornwall Council licensing have always been very keen to avoid because it's potentially quite dangerous. So I do not think that option 1 would suit Newquay particularly well. There are reasons, basically, I've given you one example, why some premises are best just doing on sales. Okay. So I don't think that just allowing everybody a blanket, yes, you can all do off sales, would be a good idea. The second option is the one that I would recommend, and that says amend the Licensing Act to extend the definition of on sales so that includes consumption of pavement area. That means that if you have a premises, imagine you have a premises in the middle of town, you have on sales and you have off sales, and you've got yourself a licensed area under the COVID legislation at the front of your premises. It means that premises who found themselves in that situation would be able to continue serving alcohol, selling alcohol in glasses to people in those situations. The third option is very similar, and it took some unpicking, but it would mean that if we considered our bar, restaurant in the middle of town, it has off sales, it has its licensed pavement area, you expect that every single premises that has off sales will also have a condition that says must be served in sealed containers. So if option 3 were taken, and I don't really know why they included it, but if option 3 were taken to its to the letter of what it says, it would mean that yes, you could serve alcohol to those people sitting at the front of your premises on the licensed area, but the bottle of wine that you serve them would still have to have a cork in it. Because you can only serve off sales in a sealed container, and they would still be considered off sales. You could do it, but you would be serving it in a sealed container. The two are option 2 and option 3 are very, very similar, but option 2 would seem to be the one. It means that if you've got off sales and you've got a licensed pavement area, you don't actually need to do anything. You would just be allowed to serve that area as if it were part of your premises. And that's my recommendation to you.
Thank you, Duncan. So if somebody wants, because I'm going to abstain from this because I'm with connections with the alcohol industry. So if somebody else wants to propose and second that accepting the officers, accepting the officers' recommendation, which was the first option. Okay.
Option
No,
2.
to option 2. Yeah. Kate. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So if you vote on that, and then I'll abstain. Okay.
We've had to put it off so many weeks, but and I will return that to the government later in the week.
Right. Point 8, discuss and make any decision on licensing applications and the licensing matters. So the first one is 8.01 is Sands Resort Hotel. So I have a pecuniary interest in this, so I'm going to be stepping out of the room. I have to nominate anyone.
Yes, somebody will need to chair in your absence.
Oh, sorry. I leave to the. We need to work on the artificial intelligence there, Will. Do I have a volunteer to chair my absence? Joe? There we go, Joe. Thank you. There, yeah. Yeah.
Right, okay then. This is I shall share my screen. This is the this is what I have to start remembering to do. That's yeah, screen. Sorry, I'm just getting used to the process of this. Then we just make that. Right then. So yeah, we just got an overhead view of the site. Just come down to street level. Where are we? Just up the road slightly. Okay. Sands Resort. It's an interesting premises license application because they already have a premises license. I am assured that if this were to be granted, that the existing one will be surrendered because you can't have two. So the licensing officer is aware of this and will expect one to be surrendered. So the premises is a hotel and resort with a restaurant, bar, spa, wellness facility at ground level. You will remember it, of course, because we saw the recent applications for signage and the paddle tennis courts being built at the back, which we were very supportive of when Mr. Ashworth came in. So they're applying for a whole host of licensable activities. Everything really that covers entertainment. So that's film, the provision of plays, regulated entertainment, broadly recorded music. It's all to take place indoors. And they are looking at permission to do this from 10 in the morning until the wee hours of 2 o'clock in the morning. In terms of alcohol, they have both on and off sales, and that's quite important to note. Alcohol would be, presuming if the bar were open, alcohol would be permitted 24/7 to residents and bona fide guests. Which is not unusual for a hotel, a large kind of resort sort of thing. It might set alarm bells ringing, but it's not unusual for this kind of premises. In terms of the conditions that they've offered a robust set of CCTV conditions, which will make the police happy. The Challenge 25 condition is a bit thin, and I would suggest that my qualified view would be a more robust Challenge 25 wording would be appropriate. I'm going to show you the premises plan because there is an issue with this. I think this is one of the planning documents that we've seen, and they've drawn a red line on it and said licensable activities. The Licensing Act regulations require that you state where the licensable activities are going to take place. It also suggests that it also requires that you indicate the perimeter of the premises. I have been told that by the licensing officer that the solicitors who submitted this application chose not to do that, and they said this is what I have been told that they didn't feel it was necessary because they have both on and off sales. This is if this is the case, this is a misunderstanding of the law. How do you know if, how do you know when the alcohol is being consumed on the premises and off the premises? If it's off sales, it would need to be in a sealed container. You absolutely do need to show the perimeter of your premises, and they have failed to do this, and we do need to go back to Cornwall Council and insist upon that.
Right, so you're saying they're not in compliance with this particular stipulation?
With this regulation of the Licensing Act, yeah.
Would you say that that's administration non-compliance as opposed to any malevolent?
Yeah, but it's an important
Yeah.
thing that does need to be done. So we're not objecting. We
No.
would. You don't object in licensing. It's not like planning. You submit a representation, and I would suggest that a representation from this committee should say that we would like a stronger Challenge 25 condition, which I will provide the wording for, and that we would want a plan that met the regulations of the legislation under which the permission has been granted. They quibble about it, we'll go to a licensing hearing about it. They would be very ill-advised to do that. This can be sorted out without a public hearing. Little surprised that it came to us, to be honest. I would have thought that it would have been the officer would have sent it back in the first place, but for some reason hasn't done.
To ask a quick question, helpful diagram looking at the red area where I presume is where they sell the alcohol.
Licensed, yes, that's
Licensed
right.
to sell, they want to be licensed to sell.
Licensed area, but of course the consumption of alcohol isn't a licensable activity.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question. So people can drink by the pool there, that's up to them and their safety rules and whatever. It's not. Yeah.
So, as I say, the consumption isn't licensed, but the retail supply is. So I would suggest that we could that we could submit a representation covering those 2 points, the plans and the Challenge 25.
Sorry, also, they're talking about music, cabaret, dance, all sorts, right through till 2 a.m. I'm presuming they're not, I mean, those black squares in the top right corner, they're not residences, are they? Does anyone know? I should look on the map.
Believe that they're part. If we had a plan that showed the perimeter of the premise, we would be able to say quite happily whether it was inside or outside. Unfortunately, I believe that is part of the from my knowledge of it. I believe that's part of the premise. The thing with they've given themselves this flexibility of 2 in the morning. The thing is that if you're running a hotel and you've got a band playing till 2 in the morning, you're quite likely to upset half your guests. So in all honesty, they've given themselves flexibility, but I doubt that they would be, I doubt they would be doing that all the time. Yeah.
And I have a question. Do we, is there a need for an environmental officer to put some input into the noise and the entertainment?
They will have been consulted. They're a statutory consultant. I haven't heard of any of the responses so far from the statutory consultees, but they would look at it and look at it quite seriously. But it's worth remembering that there has been a license in place there for a long time, and it has covered a lot of these activities.
Okay, so are there any other points that you wish to raise in this application then? And you're saying that the response from us is not a disagree or an objection or a we are going to submit a representation. So, I mean, I think probably I'll make a proposal that we do submit a representation then along the lines of the details that Duncan has proposed. Do I have a seconder for that? I think John was just ahead of Katie. Okay, let's all vote on that then.
Yeah, it's a very reputable company. I'm sure we'll solve
Are we
Total
voting
fine.
on that? John,
I
are you
am, yes,
voting in
yeah.
favour? Are we we are unanimous.
Second licensing that we're discussing is 8.02 Bearded Brewery.
Brewery 7 Central Square. This again is an application for the grant of a premises license under the Licensing Act. There is only, well, there are actually 2 activities applied for here, but they're indeed only needed to be 1, but hey ho. And that is, so it's the retail supply of alcohol, and that's off sales only. And the reason it's off sales only, oops, is because I can find the shot. Yeah, there we go. It is this retail unit, which is, I wandered down there today, just checked the notices. It's currently empty. And the premises that is going to occupy this, the Bearded Brewery, the premises is a retail space previously used as a selling shop. The premises has a glazed frontage. There is 1 exit entrance, which is in the middle frontage. I think they're going to be selling a range of products in that, and it obviously will be in sealed containers, and yeah, just operating as a shop, not a bar. They did apply for the provision of recorded music. They don't need it. They might have music on in the shop, but that will be incidental to the reason that people went in the shop. They've not gone there to listen to their music. They've gone there to buy probably some Cornish alcohol to take home with them.
So
They
they
don't actually need that.
They just
anyway.
need to make sure they've got PPR,
PRS, yeah,
yeah,
whatever it's
PRS, or whatever it's called these days. Check.
We had a very similar application up the hill a bit, didn't we? That they were selling essentially tourist trinkets that contained alcohol. That was reasonably straightforward, wasn't it?
So there's no drinking up time. They've given themselves opening hours of 10 in the morning till 10 in the evening. They have the off sales in sealed containers, which is probably the key condition for something like that. And they have a reasonable challenge 25 wording as well. So I could see no issues with this application.
John, you had your hand up before. Do you? Yeah.
Just wondering if there's outside tables. That's all. You clarified that. Okay.
They're not selling alcohol
fine.
to consume on site. It's purely effectively like an off license. They're
Fine.
selling their alcohol in bottles. So
We've had no concerns raised from the police. Would they been consulted, do you know? Or
They're a statutory consultancy
Yeah,
as well.
okay. But
proposals-
sorry, can I presume they've been consulted before us, or they might be consulted after us?
We aren't a statutory consultee. A lot of towns and parishes don't involve themselves in licensing, but because we are Newquay and because of the history of the town, this committee has historically looked at
Yeah.
licensing applications
No, I know.
for the benefit of the town.
No,
So
my
we don't
question
wanna-
was, do we know if the police have already looked at this and told us they have no objection?
I've not heard anything from the police. I can't imagine that they would
I
have
guess
an issue.
I would like to propose no objection, presuming the police have no objection.
we submit a representation or we don't submit a representation.
Okay, to reword that as a
objection,
representation,
no.
our representation is that we do not object unless the police were to object.
As I say, we don't object or not object. We submit a
No, unless the police raise a concern.
we submit a representation because we are concerned at the undermining of one of the 4 licensing objectives, or if we don't feel that the licensing objectives are being undermined, we don't submit one. I mean, it doesn't strike me as that this will be a hotspot for crime and disorder, which is the licensing objective that the police would be concerned with.
Joe.
Right. So I think, are you inviting proposals yet at the moment?
I was going to, yes.
Okay. Well, I will propose no representation. And I'm assuming that if there was an objection from a statutory consultee, then we would be vetoed on whatever decision we'd made anyway, right? So on that basis, I will propose no representation.
Do we have a seconder for that? Francis, seconding on that. So,
Feel my representation was heard.
okay. Can we have a vote on that then? How it works with licensing, we make a representation on that, but we get overridden by, if the police have a concern, they'll make a concern and it will come back, and then it will be dealt with by them, and it could even then come back to us again, I presume, if they've got a complaint and they have to reapply, so, or adjust their licensing applications. So
Sorry, I've just nearly drowned myself in a glass of water. If the police had an issue around crime and disorder, then they would submit a representation, and if it couldn't be addressed between now and the end date, then it would result in a licensing hearing automatically. It doesn't have to be that somebody says, "Oh, we don't think that's any good." It would all, with the police, it would automatically go to a licensing hearing. Their view when it comes to crime and disorder carries a lot of weight.
So next application is 8.03, variation there at the 14 on 4th Street. Over to you again.
Okay, this is to approve the alterations to the current plans. So it's a variation of an existing licence. These alterations reflect the changes that we supported at our meeting of the 8th of May, which was the erection of a cabin in their external garden area for the serving of food. The planning has subsequently been approved by Cornwall Council. I can very quickly bring up the plan for that one. No, and that's not it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you see down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen there, outdoor drink and food servery, that planning permission has been applied for, has been granted, and they are now changing the plans to reflect that. They need to do this as a full variation because they are adding extra bar space, if you like. So although it seems only a small thing, they do have to go through the full variation process rather than a minor variation. As I say, we've already said yes to this under planning, so this is just bringing the licence into line with what we've already said yes to.
So anyone got any issues with that? So I propose then, no representation on this one. Second, so vote on that. Yep, everyone on K1, thank you. Then with licensing, 8.04 variation, Rosa Novelty Golf Course on 11 Tower Road. Still with you, Duncan.
Right. Formerly, premises formerly known as Gilmore's. It's now the Rosa Novelty Golf Course. I think that we will be seeing a planning application coming in the reasonably near future, because they are making some, I think the business has changed hands and they do appear to be making some changes to this. So the first thing that they've applied for in this variation of an existing license is that the description of the premises changes. It is currently described as a single-story cafe attached to a pitch and putt golf course. They are expanding the building side of it, and so they are asking that the premises be described as a restaurant with bar, outside terraced area and ice cream cabin attached to a mini golf course. So there is a change of the plan to include the boundary around the whole site, and to extend the area of the supply of alcohol to include the terraced area. I'll show you what that means. Don't know what would be. That will be, so imagine the bottom of that's Tower Road running along the bottom of that image, although the bits are now upside down. So yeah, so their licensable area, I think, currently just covers the building, so they want to include the outdoor area. This means that people will be able to sit at their table, pay for their drinks at the table, rather than order their drinks and pay for their drinks at the table, rather than go in to the building every time. And they've extended the premises to include the golf course, because previously it didn't. So I think that this means that you could as alcohol is for consumption on the premises only, you can now wander around the golf course with your bottle of beer or your glass of wine with you if you like. I don't see that as an issue.
Duncan looking at my face going, no, this isn't an issue. I'm thinking, is it an issue? Is it an issue?
If you think it is, but that's what they are applying for.
Okay,
So if you were playing golf and you took a drink around with you, it could now be an alcoholic drink.
You see, the issue I have is that you have young children doing this, and you're going to have alcohol around young children, where necessarily they wouldn't have the choice. But I mean, you can have that in a pub though, can't you? So I'm sorry, I'm just thinking this out loud to myself in terms of, is there an issue or not? You see, if they just put it for their outdoor seating area, I completely get that. But actually enclosing the whole of playing crazy golf with being able to drink alcohol as well, I'm not sure. I'm sort of trying to get my head around the concept. Something doesn't seem quite right. I don't know. So somebody else speak, please.
Thank you. Your concern on children's quite a good one. I wonder whether there isn't, I mean, the children, I presume, sort of wouldn't be there after 8 p.m. or something, and whether the hours on it. But I guess, and so I don't know if as a representation we would be able to say only after 6 p.m. or something like that for the golf course area. But secondly, my other concern, and in principle, I don't have a concern with it. I think, for many people, a nice idea of wandering around with their beer on the golf course, mini golf course. I do wonder about someone getting really drunk and ending up in a corner under a bush, and no, there's a safety concern. But if nobody else thinks that's a realistic safety concern, then don't worry.
Can I come back on that? There are conditions on these licenses that say, I mean, it's always maybe chuckle slightly, but say that you shouldn't sell alcohol to a drunk person So they have conditions on the license that say that if somebody was behaving in a manner that was causing concern, they wouldn't sell them alcohol. That's a condition on the license.
I'm just looking at the licensing document. They've only applied for Sundays between 8 in the morning and 11:30 at night.
Yeah, so, sorry, because I've got bogged down in the plan. The other thing that they've applied for is that Sunday's hours are brought in line with Monday to Saturday. So they currently have a license that is from 8 in the morning until 11 at night. I suspect that the 11 at night gives them that flexibility if they were doing a party or something like this. I don't think generally that they would be open for I think if you went down at 10:30 at night, most of the time you'll find that the Crazy Golf probably isn't operating. But I think that they give them that that flexibility. So they have at the moment Monday to Saturday 8 till 11, but Sunday has an earlier finishing time. They would just like to bring Sunday in line with the rest of it.
Okay, so reading their prevention of crime and disorder, actually point 5, it says signage will be displayed reminding customers that alcohol cannot be taken off the premises. This includes onto the pitch and putt golf course. So they're not including that in terms of taking alcohol on there. So
Right,
I've got
that's
so
right.
I propose no representation on that one. That whole relief on that.
Happy to second on that basis.
Second that.
I do apologise. Sorry, I thought I hadn't picked up on that.
So vote on that one. Yes. Yeah. There we go. Thinking of the safety aspect of glass on this as well. With
I do apologise for that.
That's okay.
Glad that somebody's paying attention. Anyway.
Okay. Marvelous. All right. Agenda item 9, discuss and make any decisions on previous planning applications. Duncan?
Right, yeah. You've got a 5-day protocol, Far Horizons, which hasn't actually I haven't actually got everybody's responses through for that at the moment. You've got I had hoped that I might have had more responses. We'll talk about the 5-day protocols in a minute. Non-material amendments, you responded to 13 Praise Road and 34 Chester Road, and they're both no objection has been returned to the council. Okay. So it's just a vote to ratify those.
So vote, I propose that we've done due process on that. Seconder on that. Joe, vote on that. Yeah.
No, because I think that there are people here, and I might have had other emails through. I'm not going to open my emails because I'm concerned that I'll end up sharing them on screen. But yeah, if you've not responded to Far Horizons or Giles Court, could you please try and do so ASAP?
I can't remember if I've done that.
You have responded.
I think I have done them. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, if you haven't, and you've in mind to, because yeah, I don't like returning these things when I've got like 2 responses. Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else then, Duncan, on that one? No.
That's
no.
That's
okay,
what
marvelous.
Got.
Okay, right. Planning applications. Right, we've got 12 to go through. We've done one already. So I'm starting off. If I can get to the right page in my notebook. So I'm doing the first 3 tonight. So you have to bear with. Okay. So application 1 is PA24/028 90 for land west of 80 Edgecombe Avenue. Application for outline planning permission with some matters reserved, namely appearance and landscaping, to form a new dwelling on plot. So this is just outline planning commission. So this hasn't got the details with it. So this is just really if we agree, disagree, or otherwise in principle. So if we can bear that in mind when we look at that in a minute. It's okay. Oh, I need to recommend to Councillor Kenny to bring a joke book in so we don't overload the system so it doesn't crash.
Which one was this? Edgecombe Avenue.
Edgecombe Avenue, yeah. I sent this, I think, Friday.
Yeah.
Or Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's the yeah. So yeah, sorry, you want the location plan first, don't you? Sort yourself out, Duncan.
Right. So
Don't
okay.
you-
So just to where we are. So we're on the this is the viaduct here. So we're below the viaduct. So this is the turning for Waterworld and the zoo with the bus shelter opposite. And you might not have noticed it, but there's actually a little lane already here when you drive past, and they're looking then to put a house on the back here. So these lines represent here is actually a cliff, sort of like at the back of with the viaduct on top of it. So it's like a quarry. They could have even cut the stone out to construct the viaduct. I don't know. Right. So if we can have a look at the street view, then you'll see where I mean. So here we are. My little lights died on me. Thank you. So it has sort of like an up and a down, has like this island in the middle, and you can see the quarry face at the back. There's like a polytunnel here, and they're keeping that. Oh, it's Duncan.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm shining on you, Duncan. There we go.
Sorry.
And at the back, and there's this open space which they're proposing to build a house on. So then you drive along here and you'd see a house then at the top there. Right. So the proposed block plan. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
sorry, I do apologize.
that's okay.
Just proposed block plan. There we go.
There. So yeah, it shifts between hand drawings and things. So oh gosh, has this died already? This has died already as well. Has anyone got any more pointers?
They both.
Yeah, they've both gone. John, have you got your pointer with you? And I did. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to be signing up and standing up and making a presentation then. Thank you. We can see with the red stripy area, that's going to be the siting of the new house, which is a 2-bedroom house, replacing a static caravan which is there already. So it's going to have 60 square meters of amenity space. So they're keeping the open ground that's around it as open ground, and it's going to have car parking for 2 car parking spaces there. And you can see that thank you. They're keeping, as I said, keeping that polytunnel greenhouse as well. The surface water is going to a soakaway, which South West Water is acceptable for South West Water on their scheme of things. And then their sewage is going to be joining the main sewage. Now, South West Water have put in concerns as to the siting of the main sewage pipe, and they said that the house can't be within 6.5 meters of it. If they do, they have to pay for moving the main sewage. So obviously they're aware of that. So I think I put that as I said about looking at the design statement. I mean, it's a pretty basic. If we look at the proposed plan and elevations, it's a pretty bog standard house. There's nothing amazing about this. I mean, at the back, it's obviously looking over the quarry face. It's at the back of the housing there. It's quite a distance from the housing, from the windows. It has space around it. I've put in about the South West Water, but I mean, they're going to be aware of that. So I'm not sure that we need to really go through the design statement and things. Joe?
What do we know about any risk assessments in terms of its siting near a cliff and how that would work and interact with any planning?
If we go back to the first plan, the site plan, which shows you that, you can actually see that it's a distance away from the rock face. I don't, in terms of a risk assessment, I mean, it's not, I know what you're saying. Whether we put in, we could raise that as a concern, maybe. Yeah.
Well, look, I am no cliff expert, but I would assume that if you're going to build a house close to a cliff, at some point somebody who knows about cliffs will provide a view. I mean, is that a question we can raise, Duncan? Do you think?
I don't see why not. I mean, I don't know if it'd be covered by building regulations. Maybe I'm really not certain.
What I propose is no objection. If somebody can second that, and then we can put in our concerns. John?
Yeah, it's going to be a problem moving that sewer because it's going to get moved closer to the other house, which is going to sort of cause problems there. So you can't move that sewer, but I've got no objections otherwise.
I can second it.
So can we put, yeah, so no, we have no objection, but we need to check then on the placement with the sewer that the South West Water are happy, and as to the position of the building, and concerns about that suitable checks put in place with positioning of the house in relation to the cliff behind it. I mean, the cliff behind it is not, I know it looks quite big, but it's not that big, and it's quite stable looking. So because if the, yeah, we don't know, because if that goes down, then the railway line will go down. So I think probably, you know, National Rail are probably on the, yeah, no, the cliffs.
A simple question. Would somebody with cliff knowledge be able to?
Yeah. And especially with the position of the soakaway near to the base of the cliff. I don't want anything to become, you know, for potential cliff collapse from waterlogging underneath it. Because the soakaway,
we can, if we ask for reassurance
yeah,
from the officer.
Yeah. But I mean, I haven't got any major concerns at the moment in terms of its position, or you know, it has space around it and things. So if we can have a vote on then, on no objection. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so application 2 is PA 24/04109, 12 Church Street, St Column Minor, and it's proposed loft conversion with dormer to west elevation and proposed ground floor kitchen extension. So the first thing to say with this, South West Water have noted on this that there's been no water strategies put into place. So that's the first thing to note. Yes, no surface water strategy details have been provided. Right, so if we can have a look at location and block plan. So here we are so gosh, really? I think these just don't work, Duncan. Okay, so this is the vets. Now the vet used to be the co-op. No, it's died. Yes, no, it's still there. So that's used to be the co-op there. That's the little junction. So this is the corner of the playing field. The memorial hall is just up here. So we're 3 doors down, 2 doors down from the corner on the site there. So I've probably got street view next.
Given me 2 street views for some reason. But this is the first one that you gave me.
Oh, okay. What we're looking at is the middle house. Yeah, middle house there. So there's 14. Yeah. Sorry, Duncan, if oh, I said what I like doing is coming back to the street view very often. So yes, because I think I wanted a street view to demonstrate that there's because they want to put attic windows at the front of the house, and from looking at that, but so I think the other street views, if we turn around, there are houses opposite with roofs with skylights in. Maybe driving down the road a bit, I don't know. Oh no, you're a long way down the road, aren't you? That's skipped a long way. Okay. You can't. Oh no, it has. Oh, I see. Right. Okay, you can't see them very easily at the street level. It was sort of like as well. Okay, right. So if we can have a look at the existing plans.
Existing plans. What is that? I think
oh.
we've miscommunicated slightly here. I've got existing ground floor, existing roof plan, or an existing elevation.
No, it was existing. Oh, it'll be floor plans then, I imagine. Ground and first floor. So oh, yeah, no, this is nothing. So you can see at the right hand side then that's the view on the street with the bay window is their living room, and they've got then the existing, then they've got a bedroom, and they've got a kitchen at the back. So there's this rectangle. Oh, I'm gonna have to stand up, aren't I? And I'm not gonna have a microphone though. They're going to be filling in this, they're going to be putting a cover over this block here, filling in the gap. If we have a look at the proposed ground and first floor. So they're putting in a skylight in the roof then of the kitchen. They are putting a cover over this, and I think if you scan down, then we've got, yeah, is that the ground floor? Oh, they do it the other way around. So that's what. So they're putting in doors here to open out underneath here, and this is like a cupboard covered area. They're putting a new door in here, and I think it says they're putting reinforced, steel beams that they're going to have to put in here because it's weight-bearing walls on the outer walls here, and with the kitchen. So that's that, and then based on kitchen extension. Right, and then if we've got the proposed roof space. Yeah. So, yeah, it's the roof space. So they're going in the roof to put the dormer on. So they're going to have a bedroom and a toilet, I think. Yeah. So having the dormer here. So it basically covers the complete back of the roof. So I then put in the current east elevation. So that's what you see at the street at the moment, and then the proposed east elevation then has the windows on it. That's
Rear of the property, is it?
No,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
it.
west elevation, but we can, I was going to say, can we have a look at the existing west elevation first? Have they got their elevation? Oh, yes,
Number 5.
that's right. Sorry. Yes. So
And that's
the
the rear of
existing,
the property.
that's the rear of the property. And then the proposed then is having this dormer.
So it's the one in
It's the one in the middle. It's the property in the middle. So they've already got skylights in next door. So they're having the dormer here with just this balcony there and a new skylight window. If we do section AA, that's the east elevation, isn't it? That's the windows at the front of the house.
That's
There's section AA. There's 2 sections of the house.
I thought you said 8.
Oh, sorry.
You said
No.
A. I thought
There we go.
8.
So then we can see sort of a cross section of the house. This will be the new dormer coming out. So there's a little bit here. So it has like a little balcony. So it has the windows upstairs from the bedroom. They put like what would be the bed there. I think they're going to have a problem with banging of heads on that myself, having the bed there. But so that's going to be windows overlooking the balcony. So and that's the covered area outside in that box, the other side of the kitchen. So this is their kitchen table that they've put in there. So and then if we've got section BB, again you can see that this is a cross section with the dormer at the back. And it has like a skylight in it, and the staircases going up, which are already there, really. Yeah. So, oh, they're putting a window seat in the window. This window here, they're putting like a window seat in that, I think. Which is it's really internal thing. Now, my concerns were initially as to where it's overlooking at the back, but can we do the satellite view from? If we go back to the map. If we go back to if you press the bottom icon, yeah, can we go back? Oh, How do we get back onto the map so we can pick up the satellite image?
So we hadn't done one, but we can do.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Sorry, it's 14, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's 12. It doesn't matter, does it? If you do 14, so no, it's fine. If you click on that, and then it'll give you the map, and then you put the bottom icon on for layers. Okay, and then if we can beam in, move up a little bit. So effectively, it's this middle property here. So in terms of a window at the back looking out, next door have got this built up area in there. It's not going to be directly looking onto that. And it's quite a distance, you know, from looking on to the neighbours. I don't think this is issue. So what I'm proposing is no objection pending that there's no overlooking with the neighbours. And they've got to do their southwest water requirement too. So John second that. Has anybody got anything else that they'd like to add to that? There's other premises with dormers and things at the back, so I had a look. So yeah.
Yeah,
So-
everything's at the rear, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
a bit of rear infill.
But
the rear-
with two windows in the skylight at the front, but there's other houses along the road
That have already
which
got
have already got. Well, you can see from the satellite image actually. Yeah, there's ones there and things. So there's already a precedence for that. So are we okay on voting for that, Kate? Are you? Yeah. So shall we vote on that? No objection? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Application 3 is PA 24/04210, 7 Pentar Court, Esplanade Road. And this is for a first floor balcony to existing flat and associated alterations to fenestration. I love the word fenestration, posh word for windows. If you look in your objection pack, there is an objection for this. Have you guys got an objection, Kate and Francis, or John? Can you grab behind your laptop? Okay. Wonderful. So if you have a look on page 3, there is an objection. So if you have that beside you when we look at this, so we're out on Pentar. So if we can have a look at one for just the location as to where we are. So we're on Esplanade Road. It's the set of apartment blocks next door to the Esplanade Hotel. If we can have a look at that. So the application is for number 7. Oh no, can you just go back a minute, please? So if we can, so these they're an odd design. So each one of these blocks has 2 apartments in it. So objection 9 the objections come from number 9, I think she says she's at. Yeah. So 7 or 8. So we're this one, we're second one from the western end. So if we can have a look then at the street view, it's this one here. So they're 3 stories high. So apartment 7 is the ground floor and half of the second floor. So access must be for apartment 8, must be round the back. They would have then the back half of this floor, and then they've got the top floor. It took, look at Francis's face. It took me a while to work it out. So so can we just drive down the road a smidge and then look back at it a bit? Look at the murky weather we had down here. Right, okay. So we can see that this apartment here on the end, so 9 and 10, has a balcony. The one at the end has a balcony, and they're like offset cheeses. So what they're proposing is a balcony here, and basically from sticking out, so you can see there's a wall here, so it would come out on top of this wall to the wall here, but effectively this is their living room next door. So the balcony, how they've given it at the moment, because they haven't given them much detail, is going to be looking straight into their living room. Right, so if we can look at the site plan. Oh, it took me ages working this out. Yeah. So if we can blow it up a bit, so you can see that sort of this is the ground floor, I presume, isn't it? So yeah, so this is ground floor, and then you've got this like little not a spiral staircase goes upstairs to this upstairs space here, and this little red box then is where they're planning for the balcony. So you can see then at the moment, because they haven't given details of what's happening on the balcony, then you're going to be standing there and you're going to be looking at the same height straight into there.
Proposed front perspective, which gives a really fantastic diagram of what they're looking at doing.
I haven't finished
Sorry, okay.
presenting it. So if we can have a look at the current, current floor plans and elevations. Again, so this is going to be what they're proposing is going to be going along here. And you can see that yeah, the sketch, can you just enlarge it a bit, Duncan? So I was just looking at the angle one from underneath. Yeah, that one. Yes, that's right. So so there's their balcony there. So the wall finishes there. They're planning on that there. And there's next door's lounge and balcony right next to it here. If we then look at the proposed plans and elevations, this is the current one. So at the moment they're proposing, it looks like a glass frontage and a glass side to the balcony. So yeah, at the moment. So to the east side, then they've got the solid wall. It's the west side on here, which has been, there might be an issue at the moment. So if we've got, it gives actually then what they called a front perspective. So they give an internal view from inside the room. Oh, front perspective. So I thought that was quite useful. So I'm not necessarily saying that we're objecting. What I'm saying is that they need to make this solid. They need to make that an opaque side to it. Yeah.
Can I make a point? Just looking at the balconies along the top, wouldn't that be exactly the same issue? If you look at these two end apartments, wouldn't the balconies at the top be exactly the same issue, just recreated down below?
Yeah, I don't know. Can we look back at the street view as to yeah. Yeah.
That's currently just clear glass.
It is clear glass there, isn't it?
Do already have a balcony. As you say, it's exactly the same. It's just one level up. There'd be one below it, exactly the same as what's there. I mean, you'd have to lean your But even for the proposed one, you'd have to stand on that side and lean your head around to look into their, you know, of course we care about privacy, but in this instance, the entire purpose of that balcony is to look outwards and just to be on the rest of it.
If you look at the distance though. No, but if you look at the knob, because the distance is different. This is, they're offset. This one is set further back than this one. It doesn't go straight up. It's not a straight line. That distance. Yeah, so this distance here is wider than this distance down here. So this one is set further back than that. I still think though that we could ask for it to be obscure glazing on that side.
There is a
Yeah. So what I'm saying is it's no objection, but I think we need to put that recommendation in for that. So if we the last one they had like oh no, I didn't actually put it on. They give like an indoor perspective on that. Yeah, that one. Yeah. But of course it's got the leaning on against the solid side. So in terms of visual amenity, with the balcony not being in keeping with the building, well, I mean they've all got balconies and things. So yeah. Saying because, but it doesn't. I mean, she's saying that it doesn't give out. I mean, it doesn't give actual specific measurements.
Yeah, that's one of the best pictures we've seen of an application, for goodness sakes.
Yes, I know, but that is just a representation of it. It's a visualization of it. It's not an actual measurement that we normally see on plans.
On that note, then we would say no objection, assuming the measurements met the design in the, because it's a good point that we would not normally approve without seeing the measurements. And we could say we're assuming the measurements meet what has been visually presented.
I think the yeah, go on, Duncan.
I would suggest just going on previous representations regarding similar sorts of applications, that if you said that you because you're not certain if there's an issue or not, if you raised no objection and if you sought reassurance from the officer that there would be no overlooking, I would have thought that would be a sensible way to approach it. But I would also say that we do note, we are concerned about the public the public comment that suggests that there is overlooking, and so we want reassurance that there isn't.
Could we just say some councillors are concerned about that? Because I'm not concerned about that based on what's been presented.
Okay, I think it's the choice of the, you know, if you've bought an apartment, that's how you think you've bought an apartment, where somebody changes the planning next door to you. So so I think, yes, that's for and then the planning officer can adjust that and sort of insist on obscure glass or whatever on that western end if needs be, which is not
objecting, but you would want some reassurance that this lady's concerns are being looked at closely by planning.
Absolutely,
which is a reasonable way forward.
So I'm proposing no objection on that. Seconder for that. I think Francis got in there first. So can we vote on that one? Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so then we're over to Duncan. So planning application 4. Oh, do we want a comfort break? 7:30. Should we keep going for a bit? Yeah, we're okay. John, do you want a comfort break or
no? I'm fine.
No, you're all right. Okay. Duncan, are we all? Kathy, are we all right? Yeah. Application 4 PA 23/0 10292, 30 Trevilson on 31 Pentar Avenue, extending the apartment block by a further 3 apartments without compliance and conditions 2 and 4. When Duncan's bearing with that, there you'll also note there's concerns and comments in your pack about that this application as well, which I think probably can be overcome.
Right then, so I'll start off with the location just so that we all know where we are. Yeah, so it's just on the corner of Pentar Avenue and Lawton Close, in fact. And a sensible person will put down. I'll just bring us down to the street view. So this is the building in question.
I would like.
Are you? No, then no. No, that shouldn't be an issue. So in your comments document, probably on page 4, I think, you'll see that there is a comment from ourselves from March, and there is also comments from Mr. Michael Wallace. So we objected to we raised an objection last February to this application. So in July 2019, this committee raised no objection. So going back quite a while, 2019, no objection to plans to extend the existing block of 6 one-bedroom apartments by adding another 3 one-bedroom apartments on the side, effectively this space where this Kangoo is sitting at the moment. Following approval, the building changed hands, and the current section 73 application was submitted. We are told that this section 73 application is driven by a need to simplify the build. So originally it's got a plan that's been approved. The owners have then sold on, and the new owners have thought, actually, we could do this, 3 extra apartments, but slightly more simply and probably more cost effective, I should think they are thinking. Anyway, we objected to this when we saw it in February. We had sympathy with the comments made by the neighbour at number 33, Mr. Wallace, but we did note that the bin store he was unhappy with had already been approved and wasn't part of the section 73. Our concerns included, well, I believe Joanna raised concerns about the state of the rear of the building because it was looking pretty shocking. A lack of elevations being provided with the application, a lack of an up-to-date layout showing how 9 parking spaces would be fit into this area in front. And we had strong concerns that the applicant was seeking permission for 1-bedroom apartments that would in fact be 2-bedroom. Our concern was based on the fact that there was a bedroom and that there was a very similarly sized office, and there was concern raised in this room that they looked a little bit more like 2-bedroom apartments than 1-bedroom. So today we are being reconsulted on the same 6 documents as last time, plus the requested site plan and set of elevations. So here we go. So existing and proposed elevations. Nice drawings all on one thing. I was going to view these at 50. Right. So on the left of the screen, you have the existing, and on the right, the proposed. So the existing obviously does have what has been approved. It hasn't been built, but this is what has been approved that's sitting on the left of the building there. And the proposal is a slightly different looking, similar scale and mass, but slightly different in appearance. So the existing extension has a glazed stairwell with a brise soleil that runs down the side. And it also has internal parking for one vehicle at ground floor level. The proposed suggests a change to the internal layout. All of the flats have 2 windows looking out, 2 north facing windows. The east elevations, that's the side of the building, so effectively what we're looking at here. I'll make that slightly bigger. Not really, no. So the east, the existing shows timber slats to this carport and a small flat roof single story extension to the rear. The proposed shows a slight increase in scale, as there is no single story flat roof to the rear. It's all built up to 2 stories. So here, so they've increased the scale and mass basically at the rear of the building. So the first floor and second floor footprint now matches that of the ground floor apartment. Previously, the footprint was slightly bigger at the ground floor level. Okay. The addition of windows at ground floor level instead of these screens is the other big difference there. And the planning statement refers to the removal of the awkward detailing between the floors. You'll see that sort of got these what's referred to as powder coated steel trimming separating out the floors on the what has been approved. That's all gone on the proposed. Okay. And then if we just come down to this existing south elevation, yeah, you can see it looks very similar, but the design and access statement, which on the planning statement there. No, that's not the one. Sorry, I do apologise. I'll have to. Sorry, I'll skip that bit. I can't find what I'm looking for. Right, the proposed. This is the approved site plan here. It had 8 parking spaces at the front, and then this one that sat within the curtilage of the ground floor of the new apartments. The site plan that they are now proposing has all 9 vehicles parked at the front here. There is a question about how practical that is or isn't, but there is entrance both onto Pentyre Avenue and onto Lawton Close.
There's no way you're going to swing right in there. And these 3 here on the east side are going to be reversing onto the road on the corner. If they're getting rid of the wall that's there.
Okay,
Yeah,
when we looked at this last time as well, if you look at the bottom of the picture, so here, you see there's a small courtyard, and the ground floor flat has access to that.
Yeah.
When we looked at, that's what's been approved. When we looked at this plan, because it's the same plan that we looked at last time, but they've added the parking to it, you will see that that has become much smaller.
Yeah.
So they've actually infilled. So if we just flick between the two again, you've got that nice big space there,
Mm.
and then they've infilled it. And they've infilled it over 3 stories. And I believe that they are adding, not extra bedrooms to these, to this proposed extension, but I believe that they're adding extra bedrooms to the existing building. And they haven't included that in their description, or, yeah, basically they seem to be infilling and building, and whilst it appears on a couple of the drawings, it certainly doesn't appear in the description.
So have we got floor plans then?
We have, and that's what we'll look at now. And this is, you'll see here,
Haven't they?
yeah, you'll see here
And
that
then it's the
they,
bedroom next door.
yeah, it doesn't, these bedrooms do not
Yeah.
connect to the
Yeah.
new block here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that refers to this whatsoever in the
What's 3 extra bedrooms between?
Yeah, so they've just.
yeah.
changed
So
the
you've got 6 1-bedroom apartments that would appear to have become, well, 3 of them would appear to have become now 2-bedroom apartments.
Well,
So we need extra parking spaces due to a policy. And as I say, they've not mentioned what they're doing to the existing building at all, other than building on the side of it. So
That's
we aren't
enough
just
objection
extending
anyway,
the
isn't it?
apartment block by a further 3 apartments. It appears to be adding a 2nd bedroom to 3 of the existing 1-bedrooms. And we haven't got any measurements, but I would want to know that those 2-bedroom apartments now met the nationally described space standard.
Yeah.
They certainly don't meet policy H4 of the neighbourhood plan.
And what do those windows, because they've added windows in it, because what would have been then a solid wall from the original building now has a window there. What's that looking at the back then?
minuscule courtroom.
So effectively, that distance, what's that distance from what's going to be a window looking at there? Oh, it's windows.
No, so there's already windows there, so that wouldn't be making a difference by the looks of it. I see the point that you're making, but I don't think it makes a difference.
Dan,
The wall is still, sorry.
really not.
Hang on. The wall is still, can we just scan down the road a minute? Did they have planning permission to remove the wall? And to have, I mean, the way that they had their parking design is that
Yes, they do. So the approved does,
remove.
it has some hedge planting, but yeah, it appears, it says vehicular access to Lawton Close there. I don't know if you can read that.
But with the new up-to-date plan though, there's going to be no room for any verge and green planting on that corner because there's those cars are parking there.
No, all of that does appear to have gone.
It's
That,
gone.
all of that greenery appears to have gone.
It's gone.
The other thing is that when you read the description, it says extend the apartment block by further 3 apartments without compliance with conditions 2 and 4. Now, condition 2 would be the plans. Condition 4, where are we? We look at condition 4. Condition 4 was said prior to the occupation of any flat hereby approved, the parking arrangement as shown on plan such and such shall have been completed and the spaces shall be retained for the occupiers of the respective dwellings after. And this is to ensure that the parking provided meets H4. So they want to lose that condition completely. So I don't know what you think of this, but
And
there are concerns with that.
we've also got Mr. Wallace's concerns then about the bin store and his designs for the bin store and the placement of it as well.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
isn't part of the
Of this.
section 73.
Okay, okay.
So it's so unfortunately, Mr. Wallace
Well,
is
do-
concerned
do-
about this, but he
Do-
needed to have got that complaint
In before.
with the approval. Because
Well,
basically, if they turned down this application that you're looking in front of you, then they've
Still got the previous
got this
application.
one here.
Where
and
is the-
that
but
has
where
the
is
bin
the-
store.
Where is the bin store in there? Is it at the back somewhere?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I
Where the
see.
Where the number 3
Okay.
is, that's the proposed bin store.
Okay,
And he's obviously in the property next to that and concerned about the
okay,
proximity.
okay. Yeah.
But I don't believe that that is being
So
changed.
go to the proposed plan again. Is it still there?
Proposed plan has so little detail on it.
Yeah, well, there's not enough detail on it as well. So, okay, well, I'm quite happy here to propose an objection. Seconded. Duncan, do we have enough that we haven't got enough detailed drawings? We seem to have all those, yes, additional bedrooms of the plans next
Parking,
door.
additional bedrooms.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
do you still have the concern that, and want reassurance around, let's just zoom in on one of these flats. You've got a bedroom here and an office here.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd
Yeah.
reiterate that
Yeah.
as well, yeah?
With a bedroom that size, sorry, you're not going to, yeah. Kate?
Thank you, capturing all that. And I don't see, unless I've missed it, any efforts on solar panels, SUDs, heat pumps, any efforts in line with the Cornwall Climate Action Plan. So can we mention, and Newquay Neighbourhood Plan, essentially? Thank you. And
I'll try and work some of that in.
bird boxes and swift boxes. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just looking at the agreed plans to the proposed new version, and from a aesthetical perspective, the approved plans have a lot more architectural interest to them. I don't fully understand what a glazed stairwell and front door is, and the timber grille screen, but depending on how that is interpreted, it could be that there is some external space or something at the front. I do worry that there is zero external space whatsoever from a sliding door Juliet balcony or any type of location on that plot, which is now a big plot, to have any outdoor space. I know you're close to the beach, I know there's that green nearby and stuff, but there is no on-site.
That would have formed part of the decision-making process when they first approved PA 190604. So unfortunately,
Yeah, but I think
we'd be
the
able-
previously approved designs seem to suggest that this glazed stairwell and front door has an outside type aspect to it. Yeah. Whereas the new ones look a little bit more Eastern European, Russian
Right, okay.
in design.
Yeah.
It's a
It
contact.
certainly doesn't, it's certainly not as attractive a building to look at, is it?
No.
No, so we can certainly include that as well.
So show of hands for. Show of hands for that, yeah. Oh, no, I think Joe,
I'm just
Oh.
saying.
no. No, who proposed?
You proposed
I
and Joe
proposed,
seconded.
Yeah, Joe seconded. Yeah, it's all right.
we
And
just
we've
need
all
to check.
voted on it and we've all done the show of hands. Yeah.
Unanimously.
We'll just wave hands. Oh dear, we're all losing the plot. Yeah. Okay. Right, okay, so back to me. So application 5, PA 24/04393, 37 Glamis Road, loft extension and conversion with minor extension and associated works to the rear of the property. Oh gosh, this took me these are hand drawn and and they're not labelled very well. So you're going to have to bear with me that I try and get these in the right order because my notes are all over the shop. Okay, so if we can have a look at the location site plan first. So Glamis Road, off Chester Road. So these are the grounds for Tretheris School at the top there, with the care home at the top. And it's a few doors down. So yeah, as you're going up Glamis Road, it's on the left-hand side. Okay. So then if we look at Street View. There we go. It's this one here with the lady at the front. And it says on there, I think somewhere it says 40, it says on the little sign on here, 37. Now it's a bit of a solid lump of a house, and you can see on the roof that it already has a dormer window at the back. It already has a part dormer there. Sorry, my light's dying as well. Okay, so what I think it's applying for. Sorry, I refer to these things as it's an examination thing, so we're non-gender, so we refer to students and marking as it. So I think what it's applying for is to extending the dormer at the back. So this is it at the moment. So you have to go by the. Oh no, it's gone. With what it says on the key. So existing elevations and plans. So if we look at the north elevation on the top right hand corner, you can see there's the dormer. There is a small half roof dormer of their property. And if we then look at the what did I send you? The north-south elevations with they tried to get too many on too few sheets of paper, and no. So we then look at if we can then have the north-south elevation. Oh, is that the north-south? Okay, sorry. Right, so it's in the east-west, yes. So we can see then the elevation, and they've got steps to the utility room, so they've got an extension at the back already. So then, yeah, if we then do the what it says is existing block and proposed floor plans. So if we so why they've mixed up existing, so the bottom two diagrams are the existing block plans, but if we look at the top right hand drawing, you can see then they've extended the dormer to include a bathroom and a window at the top. Sorry, I've lost my pointer. Are we all okay on that? So it's three levels at the back. Nothing's happening really downstairs, or the first floor has got a flat roof. So what it looks out on then at the top from the dormers is two flat roofs. So it extends the, yeah. So it's putting a bathroom in the bedroom as far as I can work out. And then if we look at the proposed elevations, you can see then in the bottom right hand corner, then the dormer's been extended, but actually looking at the west elevation, have they put windows? Have they? Yeah.
Back to existing for you. Yeah, so that's your existing west elevation.
So they're changing the side of the house, aren't they?
Yeah.
To become a gable end with big windows, which isn't in the plan. Is that in the plan? Sorry, I'd spent an awful lot of time. I got very confused with this, I have to admit. So that row of large windows at the top,
They've remodeled
the model, the end
they've
of the
remodeled
model,
the
the end
roof.
of the pitch roof at the end, haven't
Yeah.
they? As well. So can we go back to, so all the other windows, are they the same? Can we go back to the, yes, all the other windows are the same.
That's the north-south existing, and the north. Obviously, yeah, you've got.
So are they putting in French windows downstairs? Yes, they're getting rid of the, on the north elevation, they're getting rid of they've got French doors there at the moment and a kitchen window. And then if we go to the proposed one on the north, proposed north, that's it. They're putting windows right across downstairs and getting rid of the kitchen window. It was so hard to understand this because they've been mixing up current and proposed and. So they're extending the dormer up in the roof to put a bathroom in. They're putting the windows in at the side where they've already got windows. Can we have a look at the street view again as to what the neighbours have got next door? If we drive up a smidge maybe and then look down the road, drive to the no, the other way. No, Duncan. Oh, go all the way round. Okay. Drive up the road a little bit and then turn it round. Need to go up a bit, maybe a little bit more. And right, okay, and turn it round. No, the other way, the other way, the other way. It's like opportunity. Keep going. Keep going. No. I went to see what the properties do. Okay, we need to drive back down the road a bit. Right, okay. So stop. Oh, back. Oh. So it's a blank wall, isn't it? No, is that 37? Well, with those big windows, I want to see what, because those side windows there at the moment are probably on a staircase.
Good point that you're making. So yes, it is looking at a blank wall.
It is looking at blank
So
wall.
my understanding of that of this application is that this hip here is
will go.
becoming a gable end.
Yeah, and it'll be solid, and then they're building out then as well, aren't they?
So it's making a much square. It will appear much squarer from the street because this will be filled in.
Which, I mean, the houses, 2 doors down, you can see it's got a gable end, so that's not anything new. So those big windows would actually overlook its neighbour because it's on a hill, and they'll be able to see the sea. Oh yeah, can I propose extension, please, for an hour? Yeah, vote on that. Thank you, Joe. But they're not looking in straight into the neighbour. That's what they've done those big windows for. Okay, does anyone have any questions for that? John? Yeah, I've just said if you look 2 doors down, it's got a gable end on the roof. That house, there's so many extensions that have been put on it already that I don't think that's going to make much of a huge impact on that. So I didn't really, because I mean the bathroom window, they would put obscure glass on the bathroom window, and there's the dormer at the back already with the bedroom window. As I said, those 3, the big windows, they're not actually overlooking anything. Nobody's complained. So what I suggest is no objection, that the officer is okay that there's no overlooking from the west end from those windows
And
into the
can
neighbour's
we
garden.
suggest Swift boxes and bee boxes as well? Is it relevant?
Yeah, you can do for, I
don't-
suppose, the roof on that side.
Possibly solar panels. I don't know that it's
It's
necessarily.
sort of
good.
like, it's a bit the
Change.
wrong way round because most of the work's going to be on the north side of the
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
So I propose that if we got a seconder, Francis is seconding. Any more questions on that or anything that we want to add? No? So we'd vote on that no objection pending. John? Jane? Okay. Right, okay, so we're gonna have a comfort break for 5 minutes, but we're doing really well. Go us. Wonderful, thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Application 6, PA 24/04369, land east of Tretheris Farm on Tretheris Road. Proposed construction of bungalow and garage. Nice big site. This one on the corner of scrubland.
Sorry, I'm just
That's
catching
okay.
up with you.
I'm just wittering away. Witter.
Be better prepared, really, can I? Okay, land east of Tretheris Farm. Right. So yeah, down by in the vicinity of the sports centre. That's the entrance into Tretheris Farm. Sports centre, obviously off in that direction. Okay. And there were some caravans on the site on the overhead. In fact, I'm going to go back to the overhead quickly because I did have a couple of comments on that. So yeah, so this is the site. This is Tretheris Farm and the land surrounding. There were some caravans on the site now. These have since gone. These buildings here. There are several trees on the site, and we are told that these have informed the layout to some extent. There are no TPOs. No trees are subject to felling as part of the proposal, so that's good. Tree reports have been provided, but it has been felt by the planning officer that the tree officer didn't need to be consulted, because there really is very little impact on the trees. So yeah, we just go back to the street access to the site, and then we'll have a look at the location plan. That's the last application. Duncan. So the red line site there, the application site, I would have expected a blue line to be drawn around the rest of it because I believe it is all under the same ownership according to the documents, but I'm sure we can forgive them on this occasion. The planning, we might mention it in our comment to the planning officer. The proposed site plan. There you go. So you can see what I mean about the trees having informed the design. Basically, it's gone in the space where the trees aren't. We are looking at a proposed 3-bedroom bungalow benefiting from a lounge and open plan kitchen, dining, sitting area. The internal area is 135 metres squared. The overall height is approximately just under 6.5 metres. We are told the property will have a modern appearance, utilising plenty of glass for solar gains and a roof overhang to reduce overheating. The roof will be finished with natural slate and incorporate photovoltaic panels, and the walls will be a mixture of painted render and stone. So we've got a garage, which is about 6.5 metres by 6.5 metres. We've got 2 parking spaces, which will be in front of the house. I'll zoom in slightly closer. There you go. That's a bit better. So you see the 2 parking spaces there. There's an existing driveway that meets up with the entrance here. We can also see the location of, if I can find them again, water butts, air source heat pump, storage area for refuse and recycling also on that side, and a footpath to the farmhouse, and an indicative position of the soakaway just to the south there. It's indicative because it says it's subject to percolation tests that are currently being undertaken. Yeah, and the access, as I say, is over in the top left corner of the diagram, just off we saw the street view. Elevations. Let's have a look. I'll just make that slightly larger. Yeah, there we go. The north elevation, so that's the one sort of kind of facing up towards the road, faces towards Tretheris Road. The west elevation would be the one that faces the farmhouse, and yeah, we can see ample photovoltaic panels in place, and that's the garden, which the garage, which, as we've already seen, just sits slightly north, garage, storeroom. That is your application. Comments that I'm aware of, apart from the usual site allocations.
I mean, it's covered everything that we normally talk about. Francis?
Thank you for that, Duncan. My question was just, and sorry if I missed it, but it's called Tretheris Farm, but I assume that the land that they're proposing to build this property on is no longer a farming farm. Does it have to be change of use? No,
Broken up decades ago, and we just called it a farmhouse, and so it hasn't got designated use.
it doesn't have that. That was the
So what they
term.
do have to do is talk about the existing use. It refers to the existing use as a garden. So it's obviously it's the garden for the farm effectively. So yeah, it's
Is that on the Google map?
Farmhouse and farm buildings are those on the right. Yeah, so years ago it would have been all of farmland there in Duke's Way and going up the things. So it's like our place, you know, we've just kept the name as Trisac Farm, and it's just sort of just in name only, really. So
it appears to be mown.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear to be, you know. I don't think this counts as farmland. I think that I mean, they probably had a lot more land once upon a time, didn't they?
got
Picking up on the same point, I agree. It does sound generally great. Just curious. So we're looking at that brownie patch there of what's kind of dry grass. That's where it would be built. So the trees around it, they're not proposing. They're being kept. Thank you. And then solar panels, great. Lots of good design aspects in there. Just final comment would be if they could consider bee boxes and swift boxes as well.
yeah, that was the only thing that I thought. So
It's got one point to make actually, and that is, I was slightly concerned. They're talking about tarmac driveway here, and we might, under our policy, we might want to ask for a permeable surface.
So basically, I propose no objection pending the wildlife requirements, bird boxes, etc., and that any driveway surface is a permeable surface. So do I have a seconder for that? Oh, John can second on that. And voting on that. Marvellous. Yeah, looks nice design, isn't it? Nice to see a bungalow being built rather than being lost.
Bungalows.
Yeah. Right, application 7, PA 24/04025, 47 Trenance Road. First floor extension to existing dwelling, resubmission of PA 23/09700. So if it's resubmission, it suggests that there's not much change that's taken place. So we'll see, Duncan. presented this one because it was the shed at the back they wanted to make into a house, wasn't it? And we objected to.
So you objected to it. So
Yeah.
this committee objected to the initial application back in December, raising concerns around the building being affected, the building behind, so the next kind of house along, being affected by light, and you had overlooking. In fact, in my notes, I said, I think Sarah may have presented this one. You obviously weren't too wide of the mark with your objection as it was withdrawn. So the single-story dwelling that you can see there was approved in 2018. That's a deep sigh. Having started as a proposal for a 2-bedroom dwelling, this committee had originally objected to it back in 2018, but then agreed with the officer's recommendation to approve once one of the bedrooms had been relabeled as a dining room, making it a 1-bedroom dwelling with a dining room, not a 2-bedroom dwelling without a dining room. And it was agreed there would be no barrier between the new dwelling and the main dwelling. So in this parking space here, which we'll see on the plans in a minute, there was a plan to have a fence separating the two, and that was said no, because that is splitting the plot. A key line in the protocol letter read, 1 parking space is sufficient for this 1-bedroom property with its dining room. So the location plan, just to So you'll see that you've got your red line site, which is the application site. So that's that single-story 1-bedroom property, and then the blue is also in the same ownership. So it's all it's all under the same ownership. This property is being referred to in some corners as 47A, so it does appear to have acquired its own address somewhere along the line. So I want to show you now the existing ground floor plan. So this is the existing plan that they've put in. But I don't see a dining room. I see a 1-bedroom and 2 bedrooms, which was absolutely not what was approved. That was what was refused. But that does appear to be what the property is now being used for, 2-bedroom property. Yeah, so it's a, and then those are the elevations for it. Nothing too exciting there apart from the lack of dining room. So what I wanted to show you to start with was this is the previous, this is the one that you looked at in December. And this was effectively you can see that the building is now taller. They've added a whole new floor to the building to make it a 2-story building. So that first floor extension comprised a 2-bedroom with ensuite shower and a 1-bedroom and office. I think that can be seen here. So this 2-bedroom, because it is marked as the existing 2-bedroom, has become a 4-bedroom property if this had been approved, but it wasn't. What we instead have is, so rather than an elevation that just built upwards, we've now got this interesting, so rather than that, we've got that. The first floor will now comprise of a 2-bedroom with ensuite shower and a single bedroom. So they've got rid of the office, and obviously the footprint of this is reduced by effectively how much space that flat roof is there. Yeah. We've then got some more elevations. The roof previously would have been raised by 1.9 meters. It is now raised at its highest point by 1.6 meters. And previously they were going to utilize the existing pitched roof to form the new roof. Obviously they're not doing that now because they're looking at this mono pitch arrangement and a flat roof arrangement. I've just got to try and understand what my notes say here. It's proposed that it says on the previous, it's proposed the existing external walls will be used to support the proposed new first floor level, with the existing roof being utilised to form the new roof. I see. And now the roofs will be a flat roof to the rear and a mono pitch roof to the front.
Sorry, Duncan. So on downstairs, then they are proposing then it's all living area, kitchen, and the bathroom in the corner, with no windows in it at all. And then upstairs are the 2 bedrooms with no bathroom.
So downstairs,
So
yeah,
it's
downstairs. So yeah, they're making internal changes so that downstairs will have a bathroom, a kitchen area, and a living area, and then stairs leading up to.
So it's going from a two bedroom
bedroom 1 and bedroom
bungalow effectively to a 2-bedroom house.
It is, yes. Sorry, I was adding up bedrooms. No, it is still remaining 2 bedrooms. But yeah, they've created habitable rooms downstairs and bedroom space upstairs. Forget what I said about 4 bedrooms. That's complete rubbish. Previous concerns were loss of light and privacy to the house behind. There is another one that I'd say, which is what it looks like.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
It will have trouble getting through building control because it's kind of a massive beams to support that middle wall. But that's not a matter. I mean, it won't get through building control really. That's not our problem.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
we need to go on. So what are we saying on this? If I got somebody making a proposal on this? So proposing objection. Do we have a seconder for that? John's seconding that. Right. So what are we objecting on? I'd like to mention outlook from the properties behind. You can see the properties behind there. So they're going to be sticking another 1.6 meters. So they're easily going to be still blocking the light from, I think, those windows behind, because that proximity is very close. It's just overbearing. It's just a complete overdevelopment, I think, of the site. Duncan?
Joe, could I just jump in? Well, I mean, rather than saying that it looked awful, we could say that it was out of character with the existing streets.
Yeah, small
Yeah.
point, yeah.
But I would also draw your attention back to the initial 2018-19. One parking space is sufficient for this one bedroom property. It's still got one parking space and it's going to be a 2-bedroom property.
Yes, so I think if we can add concerns on that as well. So
Well, just to sum up, we've got the impact on neighbouring properties. We've
Yeah.
got including the outlook.
yeah,
We've got it's
and still shading.
at odds with the existing street scene. We've got
Yeah.
parking, and I know what you're going to say. G2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the usual efforts have not been undertaken.
Yeah.
And then your point on the window in a bathroom, is there sufficient lighting? Can we comment on that, on
Well,
sort of the habitableness of it?
There's plenty of examples where you don't have a window in a bathroom, you have a vent that will come out, and it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would appear to have enough windows, wouldn't it? I think.
Thank you. Right, application 8. We've done it. We'll work. Application 9, PA 24/04661, 4 Lawan Crescent. This is one I was thinking I think we looked at this or a neighbouring one before. Loft conversion, rear extension, replacement porch, and enlargement of driveway. Over to you, Duncan. It's okay. It's at the top of Porth.
Too many plans for this one. Okay. Right, so from the overhead view, so Lawan Crescent, this is Mishmash Road, Lawan Crescent, Coronation Way. So it's this long building that we're looking at here, and it's which is a semi-detached pair of dwellings, and it's the southern, the southern half of that. Okay. Come down to the street view, and there is property. So that garage belongs to next door, I believe. No, sorry, that is part of it. That separates the two, doesn't it? Right. So the application, for one thing, it does say is that the proposed scheme will provide 2 parking spaces rather than the existing parking space, which you can see there. And they're going to do that just by, I think, taking down a part of this wall and a small part of the lawn there, so that you'd park 2 cars in tandem. Right, then, so what I wanted to do was zoom right in on the block plans here. That one and this one, so we can have a good look at them against each other. Right. Right, okay, so this is your existing. If you just look at that ground floor plan in the bottom left hand corner, you've got the garage, and you've got the outline of the dwelling. So that's the existing. So the proposed, you'll see that they are extending backwards. Yeah.
Extension at the back,
They're
2 stories.
Yeah, they're extending,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're extending backwards there, and then they are they are I'm just talking about the footprint at the moment, and then they are creating a new porch on the side. And if we look at the first floor plan, you can see that it's not a single story rear extension, it's a 2-story rear extension. The porch is just at ground floor level though. You can also just see there as well that they've if you just look at just in front of the garage there, and you can see the light grey area is the existing parking space, and they are expanding that so that they can park 2 cars alongside each other. I'm guessing that the garage is probably maybe a bit small for the modern car and is probably used for storage. In terms of the elevations, so that's the east elevation then is the street facing elevation. The red line obviously marking the division between the 2 properties. So that's your existing. So the proposed, the key changes here are the addition of dance party, the addition of the Velux and the replacement porch. Yep. The south elevation, let's see, sorry, the south, so that side elevation, yeah, you've got a conservatory at the rear at the moment, and obviously the proposal is adding a lot of scale and mass to the building in terms of this 2-story rear extension. You won't see any of that obviously from the front because it's going back into the garden. I did wonder about the separation between the properties, and we might just quickly revisit that. By 2 properties, I mean this property and its immediate next door neighbour. And yeah, I mean, it seems there are buildings between. This is the conservatory here, and they are like sort of building on that footprint, maybe extending that footprint a little bit, but it's not, I don't think it's really, it doesn't appear to be, yeah, it doesn't appear to be overbearing particularly, or leading to a loss of privacy, I don't think, but see what you think. There is some separation between the properties anyway. The north elevation, so that's the existing, again, side with the conservatory, and that's the rather large rear extension.
It's a huge extent. I mean, basically, it's doubling effectively the size of the house.
Yeah, and I think that we've got a west elevation as well. Yeah, we have got a west elevation. That's quite an important one because that's the rear view. So let's have a look at that. So that's the west as it is at the moment, and let's just bring that across. That's this rear extension as seen from the rear garden. So from that to that. Okay.
I mean,
there is no extension. Sorry, it might look like I'm making the ridge height bigger or not. It's it remains the same. It's just the scale and mass really of the rear extension. Yeah. So yeah, you've got quite a nice little 3D image there of what it'll look like, both from the rear and probably the only glimpse of it that you'll get from the street as well. Okay.
We're looking at this. There's no windows or anything at the sides that really potentially, it is literally sticking this lump out with the windows at the front, and then there's windows in the roof. But next door has a Velux window already, and then putting the Velux windows in the front of the house. But properties all have that. I mean, for me, I'm not that keen. I don't think, does it have a Southwest Water thing? Does it say what it's going to be doing with its because Southwest Water, I don't think picked it up, but I think,
But they may or may not have been consulted. I don't know.
okay, so I
With it
think
being-
we need Soakaway on this. I don't think there was any evidence of detailings for the Soakaway runoff. The drive needs to be a permeable surface. If we're going to go forward on that, and I don't think there's any indication on solar panels or anything like that. Francis?
If I was to channel my inner Joanna, I know. My question would be that area of Newquay is quite, well, I think it is quite a distinctive, clearly planned out, to be as, nice and etc. as possible. Is there precedent there for similar types of extensions and developments on the One Road?
Yeah,
Um,
there's stuff I'm going.
Or
Can I
is
just
it going to kind of set an agenda of much bigger developments? Because it is quite distinctively unique
Yeah.
along that area.
But I mean, you can see the lump at the above it on the corner there. So because it's not changing the height of the roof, then you're not losing the terracing effect, which is the one thing which is protected in Porth. So I couldn't actually look at anything. I couldn't think of anything that was objectionable.
with little impact on the street scene. I mean, we saw that. We
Yes,
saw
because
that.
it's that.
We saw
It's
that
over that.
glimpse, but
And it's got a distance then from overlooking from its neighbour, but it's already got French windows there. It's just that they're coming out. Kate,
Just on the permeable parking surface, given they're giving up a little bit of grass, if they would consider grass grid driveway, but that's just a consideration.
yeah,
Thank
we
you.
need a permeable surface on that. So I'm proposing no objection. I think it's a bit of overdevelopment of the site, but I can't think of any planning grounds to raise no objection. But so can I have a second? Yeah.
it adds a dining area, a ground floor, and a bedroom. It's in terms of the rooms that it adds, it's quite modest. Really, it's just already it's quite a small property with quite a
Yeah.
lot being added.
Well, it's a loss of a bungalow. Yeah, so you can imagine my thoughts on that. So can I have a seconder then for no objection? John seconded. Can we vote on? Yeah, it is big and overbearing. I can do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we saw one recently, didn't we? I can't remember.
Up on
Leader Road.
Yeah, Leader Road.
Where two-story
was always
rear
on-
extension.
Yeah.
Quite surprised that the officer turned down. I'm
Yeah.
afraid that we've got some concern over the scale.
So we got
of this,
scaling of the
but-
mass of the extension. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then one abstention. Thank you. Right, okay, application 10, we've got 3 more to go through, so okay. We've only got quarter of an hour. Right, PA 24/04350, Gwenna Cottage Beach Road, Porth, proposed first floor side extension over the garage, 2-story extension, rear extension, with a bridge access and internal alterations to the building. So this is like the cafe down at the beach by the toilets yeah, which is a nice small stone cottage.
Oops. Yeah, so Gwenna Tea House. I must admit, I didn't even know it existed until looking at this. But I've done, yeah, I know. I'm not big on the tea house. It's beautiful, isn't it? Really. I was going to start with the actually I was going to start with the I did a side view of it, because an interesting feature of this is this rear extension with bridge access. And what I wanted to just show was that whilst the building is on the flat, the back garden is steeply sloping, so they're actually looking to create a sort of behind these trees a bridge access across. I think what you've got is the business on the ground floor and then accommodation above. So they are making the accommodation a little bit bigger, but they are creating a separate access for that, and they're building a bridge and how to do it. So you're getting the business via the front and the flat via the back across a bridge.
Can we see the garage from this view?
No, we can't. But
No, okay.
I will. Right, so that's the garage. So yeah, as per the description, there are a couple of elements to this. So it's a first floor side extension over the garage. So they are building upwards. And then a 2-story rear extension with a bridge access. So it isn't listed, no. No, and I think it's had quite a lot done to it. So that's the whole site. I don't think we need that one. We'll look at that one there. Hopefully it might be a bit faint, but hopefully you can see the hashed areas here. That's the over garage extension, and then you'll see it's the 2-story extension at the rear is actually quite modest. It's more kind of infill than something like the last one that we saw where they're building backwards. Elevations.
Point out though, they've got the border of their property, which is at the end of the bridge, rather than going around the garden.
Right, that might make more sense in a minute. Right, so I was going to look at so that's the existing street facing at the top, and that's the north elevation, which is one of the sides. I think that's the side that we were just looking at. That's the side we were looking at from the street view. And the proposal, you see what we did there? Now I noted, so yeah, so the top one shows the over garage build. Yeah. The bottom one shows the extension to the rear. But what I did notice, if you just watch the roof on the top image, if we go from the existing to the proposed, I spoke to the officer about this because it's quite clear that they are increasing the size of the roof. They can remove that chimney under permitted developments. That's fine, but the roof is changing. I have said this to the officer. She's chasing it up because she was wondering if she said only the description would need to change, but it is something that's not referenced anywhere. Yeah. So anyway, that's the street facing and the side elevation, and then we'll have a look. So you've got your existing west elevation, which is the rear. So there is, I think the light and dark elements show that there is room for infill there. So that's the proposed. So you can see that they've currently got a flat roof to this, and they are actually putting a hipped roof on the back of it. And what you're looking at here, zoom in a little, is somebody accessing a new front door via their new bridge. And here is the bridge access to the flat from the other side. I noted that the south, so the side elevation already has first floor windows, so it's not creating any new views. I mean, really, that's the application. They're increasing the floor space upstairs, and they are accessing it in an unusual bridge-like fashion.
Have a look at the original outline of the plan, probably what you started off with. Yeah, you gave an outline of the property. That one there. So do you see what I mean? The red line actually cuts the bridge off.
Probably the bridge on the flat there, isn't it? That's probably.
Yes, but that's the edge of the property there, Duncan. So it should be going around all the way around the garden, isn't it? So if that's going to be like an access bridge from there, how are they going to access? Oh, God's sake. How are they going to access that bridge? Go back down at you. No, go back down. Yeah. No, so we can't access that.
Walk up round the back to where the parking is,
But that's
and
not-
you'd be on the level with the bridge. You'd walk across the bridge and you'd enter into the first floor.
But we're also, but yeah, it does. But we're all supposing that, doesn't it? Because that doesn't look like that. Looks like the neighbours, and I said the property boundary that they've given outline in red doesn't include their garden.
It does include their garden. Absolutely.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Because that's the oblong. Oh, I haven't got a pointy thing.
so
You see, that's the next door neighbours. Go back to the one that the other one. See, look, there's the bridge there, and it meets the edge of their property. This is the bridge. Where's it going?
So presumably you'd have a garden gate here. So you'd
But
walk
that's
up
next
and-
doors.
But that's not exactly parking.
If you look at the satellite, it's whole new property.
And you just like it looks like next door.
Driveways.
That's the next door neighbours. Sorry to be picking on this, but I don't think
that wouldn't be a planning matter. That would be for something
Okay.
for them to sort out.
Okay.
That'd be a civil matter for them to sort out, I believe.
Okay. All right.
With their neighbour.
Okay, I'm just wondering what we're giving planning permission for. Okay, so thoughts on this? Yeah, I have considered. Yeah, again, it's quite a large lump coming on the side of the building. She says, looking at the time again, but it has been adapted lots of times previously. I think we need to get clarification on the height of the roof, that there's not actually clear dimensions that have been given on that.
Have you an issue with the roof rising?
I don't think, it doesn't seem to, I don't think it will impact on the neighbours, particularly because they've got the hill, haven't they? Yeah.
Of the side extension is the same as the garage, so
Yeah.
increase.
So proposals then.
Propose to support and with our usual statements just around.
Okay, so it's no objection. If you're
It's not.
supporting something, then it's like, it's fine, it's carte blanche, we've got no issues. But we've got the missing
Sure,
usuals on
okay.
this, and and no soak away.
And solar panels would be a good consideration. Maybe, I guess they're in a valley, but it's worth consideration. And what was it? Swift boxes and big boxes. Can't see any other issues.
Thank you. So, gosh, rapidly. Oh, we've got 7 minutes to do 2.
There's a non-material amendment. If necessary, we could do it by email, but I thought it would
Okay.
be easier to do it in the meeting.
Okay. So application 11 PA 24/04779 1 Marcus Hill. As we can see, if we look out onto our
Yeah,
right,
it is.
it's
If
on
anybody
the
wants to look at
building
it,
on the
it's
corner.
straight out the window.
So reading the description, it's a proposed front and rear dormer extensions and reconstruction of the rear bay window and general alterations. Like a whippet, Duncan. Like a
Yeah,
whip.
doing my best. Hang on a second. Okay, so right.
Us doing this, it was briefly up we've seen this before, but it got withdrawn, so we didn't actually get to look at it.
Yeah, so we almost saw it before. Yeah. Okay, so I was going to start off with comparing these block plans. So that's the existing block plan. That white area there is a rear dormer, which we can just see a glimpse of from the window. They do have a balcony in place already. You've got pitched sort of a mono pitch, if you like, bit of roof here, and this area here is a bay window that kind of rises up. It's quite square, but it rises up. The proposal is going to add floor space at this level where the dormer is, and it's going to do that by taking the existing dormer here and moving the line of it so that it's in line with the bay. Okay, and then it's going to take this pitched roof here and it's going to square that off. So it's adding a lot of mass to that an area to that upper floor.
So it becomes flat roof at the back then, effectively,
Yeah,
with
effectively
skylight in
becomes
it.
flat
Looks
roof
like
at the back.
Yeah.
In terms of the elevations, we'll just so that's the side. So looking at it from Seymour Avenue as it is at the moment, you can see that rear dormer and you can see that bay that I was talking about, and that pitch roof. And the proposal sees the dormer come out to meet the bay, and that pitch roof becomes, instead of like that, it becomes like that. They're adding windows on there, but it's not looking towards a residential property. From Marcus Hill, you won't really notice anything. It's going to be hung with natural slate, in keeping with the rest of the building. I must admit, looking out, I was thinking that building needs a little TLC. The corner of the roof is gone and some of the hung slates have gone. So it definitely needs some work. Yeah, it needs some work doing to it, doesn't it?
And the front extension for the dormer? It says proposed front and rear dormer extensions.
Right. Yeah. Street fair. Right. So that's the southwest that we want to look at. Proposed southwest. Right. So at the moment we've got. So that's the existing. That's what we're looking at the moment from Marcus Hill.
Dormers at the front, please.
So it's quite a modest dormer that they're popping at the front.
Right. Okay.
So there's a
So
precedent.
there's a precedent there already. Can I?
How do we feel about this one then?
Can I make a proposal of support, actually, in this instance? That I don't see any problem with that. Seconded by John. Can we have a vote on that? There we go. Okay, wonderful. So with application 12, are we going to put that through for 5-day protocol rather
I
than?
think I
Yeah.
think I would be.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of documents that a couple of plans that I can send out that show
Yeah, yeah.
it quite nicely.
Okay,
It's
that's
nothing
wonderful.
too controversial. We'll do it by email,
Okay.
I think.
Wonderful.
That's
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, Duncan. Right. So terms of reference and risk upset. So the terms of reference is going to central committee tomorrow, isn't it? From changing the 2 to a 3, I think. I saw that on the agenda. Reports and any associated recommendation working parties. Nothing that I'm aware of has been come through. Financial statement, Duncan. Please.
Purchases have been made and there were no payments to authorise, but I'm going to have a look at
Can we
buying some
get
slightly
some more
not so
pens?
cheap pointers or
Yeah,
for
for
the
next
meeting. Yeah,
for next meeting.
I'll see what we can do about that.
That'd be great. Other correspondence?
The appeal at the Atlantic Hotel has been allowed, but I think that does have quite big implications for the neighbourhood plan and our settlement boundary.
Yeah.
I suggested to Sarah that we might wait until
Yeah.
Joanna was back
Yeah.
before discussing the implications of that.
Because they have a smoothing out of the boundary, so that has big implications
Yeah.
for.
Not only for this,
But for
particular
any
one, but
neighbourhood plan.
for the Lower Barn Court one
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Okay, weekly decision list. I'm trying to think what was of note on that.
There's nothing.
No, I don't think there was anything on particular note on that one.
No.
And date of next meeting is, she says, looking at her diary. Yeah, 17th, Wednesday, the 17th of July at 6 o'clock. It'll be wonderful to see
My apologies
everybody
for
back
that
in the-
one.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I think we can close the meeting.